Well, good morning. Once again, we are here in the State Emergency Operations Center monitoring the fires that are still burning across Kansas. But we have some good news. And to talk about that is the Deputy Director of the Kansas Division of Emergency Management, Angie Morgan. I know it's really not fantastic news until they're all out. But bring us an update.
It's good news. Today is much better than yesterday, and yesterday was much better than the day before. So just to give you an idea, the first fire that we had in the Reno County area is between 85 and 90% from our last report.
Contained.
I'm sorry. Yes, I need to add that word, contained, not out. But that's much better news, and I think they've been shrinking their evacuation zone every day down, so that's great. Rooks County up in the northwest area there, it is 97% contained, so that's excellent news. And then we dropped over to Ellis County just below it, and that is also close to 100%, which is, well, last report was 98. So then we'll drop down here to our major focus for this area is Clark County, and the last reports we had with that is 50%. We have a lot of air resources, water suppression resources, ground resources down in that area, so hopefully by the end of the afternoon we can say that that is even lower. And then finally over here in Comanche County we are at 70% containment, so looks much better than we did yesterday, and then we're hopeful that we have better weather conditions today, and that will be our next report that we receive will be maybe
good
half
news.
of the good news.
Right.
Yes.
So people got this news yesterday. This is a record-setting fire for Kansas. And there's two ways to look at records. You could look at the entire state, the overall acreage that is burned in this fire week, if you will. That number, now I just got new numbers, is 631,000 acres, 950. So very big fire.
Very big.
But most of the fire, as far as acreage, in Clark and Comanche County also has set the record for the single location of a fire, and that is now up to 502,000 acres.
Yes.
The previous record was the Anderson Creek fire that had just over 312,000 acres, ironically in the same area. People were asking where these fires started. Where did the fires come from the Clark and Comanche counties?
It's my understanding that they came from our friends in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
That hasn't been totally confirmed, but we were watching the models as we had our eyes on the Reno County fire, and we knew that there were active fires in both Oklahoma and the Texas Panhandle, or the Oklahoma Panhandle in Texas, and we had reached out to Oklahoma and they were, letting us know the situation, the status of their operations as well. So we knew it was just a matter of hours before they would be in our state.
Right. And we should mention that individual counties may have burn bans in effect. The state does not have a statewide burn ban, but check with your individual counties if you need to do any burning.
Our governor feels that it's that elected officials and first responders within their individual cities and counties best know the conditions, and a lot of these counties have permitted systems that have been in place for years. And he believes that needs to be that decision needs to be made at the local lowest level possible. So,
and Governor Brownback did declare a state of emergency.
He did that
back
on
Friday.
Sunday evening, I believe it was.
The 5th.
Yes, Sunday evening, and that continues to be amended as we go through this. And then once we have our arms under almost 100% containment and are ready to file the legal documents, then we'll do a press release and communicate that out to what counties actually do. We have several county emergency management county declarations of emergency, and then we'll release the final list at appropriate measure.
Angie, thank you so much for
Katie.
all that you do.
Appreciate you.
Thank you for watching this Facebook Live, and thank you for sending in your questions. We just saw a question about how many livestock have been lost in this fire. Unfortunately, it's been in the thousands, but there's not a specific number on the amount of cattle that have been killed. But as far as dealing with the dead cattle, the best person to speak about that is Ken Powell. You are with the Division of Health and Environment, Department of Health and Environment. Ken, tell us what you can about how they're disposing of these cattle.
Most of the cattle will be buried on site where the fire killed them. It's going to be, essentially a hole. They'll put at least 3 foot of dirt over the top of it to prevent scavengers digging in and everything. And that is probably the most protective we can be of the environment, and also be able to help the producers get things out, taken care of, so they don't have livestock just laying on the ground.
Is it your understanding, and I'm sorry I didn't prep you for this question, but did the cattle die from the fire or from the smoke?
The news reports that I've seen has been probably about 1/3 from the fire and 2/3 from smoke or from injuries from the fire that then they've had to be put down. So I think it's a little of everything.
That's very sad. Thank you for your help in explaining that.
Sure.
Take care. Kansas National Guard has been involved from the beginning helping to suppress this fire, and the Army Reserve has come in as well with their Chinooks. To talk about the Kansas National Guard's involvement with our efforts to suppress this fire today is Captain Schreiber. Captain, what are the latest efforts today?
Our efforts for today is basically making sure that all of our assets are on station and available as fires develop, and the situation is needed basically to suppress large fires that are either inaccessible to the ground crews, or of such a large size or intensity to where that's the most, makes the most sense for resources to use their aircraft available.
And today, are we focusing pretty much in the southwest and Clark and Comanche counties?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's right now what's identified as the area of most concern, and that's where our efforts are going to be focused.
Do you, by chance, on the top of your head, know the amount of bucket gallons we've dropped on this fire?
Offhand, I don't know. I know it's been a lot. They've been in excess of 100 individual bucket drops for the last several days. In terms of gallon size, each one of those buckets can hold, approximately, give or take, 600 gallons each. With the addition of the Chinooks that the Army Reserves have brought on board today, individually alone, that's 2,000 gallons approximately of water in one individual drop. So it's a substantial increase in capability.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time,
Not
and of
a
course,
problem.
thank you for your service.
Just real quick, if I could, what's it like to partner with a different entity of the military to come together and work together on something like this?
In what facet again?
For the aviation assets.
The aviation assets, our sole purpose in Army aviation is basically assist and support the boots on the ground. And here, as far as with the National Guard side of it, it's actually even more rewarding because, one, I was involved with the Medicine Lodge fires last spring. So the boots on the ground, the volunteer fire departments, the fire departments in all surrounding areas that are coming to support throughout the state, they're doing the real hard work as far as, on the ground, in the heat, in the elements, working constantly, long hours. They've, struggling up to this point with a large fire. Once we can bring those aviation assets in to, support them and help them in the efforts to contain it, it's a game changer for them. It brings a lot of capability in real quick to support and suppress the fire. We kind of get a lot more visibility because it's obviously a different kind of asset that's out there, but it's all for the effort of supporting the boots on the ground.
Very good, sir. Thank you.
All right. Good news and bad news. The good news is we've got precipitation coming that will also help reduce the fire danger across Kansas. Bad news is it looks like some of that is in the form of severe weather ongoing already in the eastern side of the state. You might tune to the National Weather Service to get an update on that severe weather. I'm Katie Horner, Public Affairs Director for the Adjutant General of Kansas. Behind the camera is Sergeant Zach Sheely, who you heard just ask a question. We thank you for your time, and we'll bring you more updates as new information comes in.